Hello, sweetheart. This is your life. You were born Robert Willard Hill in Straight Fork, Tennessee, to Earl and Madeline Hill. Chubby cheeks, big hazel eyes, and long eyelashes. You were a cutie. Always characterized as a speed demon, at an early age you began peddling your way to success. Your father passed away when you were 6 months old, leaving you and Madeline on your own. Searching for work, Madeline moved to Cincinnati, where you lived until you were 12. It was there that Madeline met and married James Shepard. Thus began a love-hate relationship between a defiant, very independent 12-year-old and a Navy man steeped in discipline. Bob, you came to love this man whom you often described as mentor and best friend. After Jim's death, Madeline's health began to decline, and you moved her in with our family and added joy to our lives for 18 precious years. The family moved to Eugene, Oregon, where you attended Eugene High School. You always told me you had to fight your way into the gym, but once you established yourself as someone to be reckoned with, your high school buddies came to love you and affectionately nicknamed you Arky. Your first love while in high school was sports, all kinds. The highlight of your glory days was being named All-City in basketball, baseball, and football. Always a high stepper, you're seen in this picture sprinting toward the goal line and capturing a 4-year football and baseball scholarship to the College of Puget Sound. While at CPS, you joined the Kappa Sigma fraternity. For spending money, you played cards with your fraternity brothers. And of course, you nearly always won. Over the years with Kappa Sigma, you represented the fraternity in a number of sports, winning first place in intramural diving and in ping pong. Add to that badminton, track, and the occasional boxing match. You were a true jock. You ended your college career on a high note, receiving the Johnson Cox Trophy, which was voted on by your teammates and honored you as being the most inspirational student athlete. Following college, it was off to the U.S. Army, followed by continued service in the National Guard. You practiced your love of sports even while enlisted, pitching for your basic training unit's softball team. They were undefeated in the national tournament, but unfortunately were shipped out before the final game. Of course, you bragged that they would have won. After all, you were the pitcher. After basic, you were sent to Fort Gordon, Georgia, where you served as staff sergeant. Your card-playing skills came in handy. When you won a game, as you usually did, you traded off with the losers. And while they were peeling potatoes or standing in line for you during roll call, you were taking a snooze under the Georgia pines. Okay, he wasn't a saint, and that's why I nicknamed him Rascal. That's right, no saint, but you were a true patriot. Your favorite holiday was 4th of July, and your favorite event was the Life Center Tribute to America, which always brought tears to your eyes. After being honorably discharged, you went to work at Puget Sound Bank. You told me the only reason you got the job was because they needed help on the baseball team. A natural-born entrepreneur, you tried your hand at being a real estate broker and investor, and if you can believe it, a cabaret owner, and yes, you succeeded at all of those endeavors. In 1967, you purchased the building that housed Knapp College of Business, and that same day, the president of the college resigned. So being unafraid to tackle anything, you rolled up your sleeves, stepped in, and acted as president of the college until 1989. In 1979, you were selected as Boss of the Year by the American Businesswomen's Association. Your employees said, "He's such an honest, down-to-earth executive, and the greatest thing about him is his ability to communicate with people at all levels." After the school closed, you ultimately became my boss. For over 25 years, we worked side by side building a successful real estate business. You were the planner and visionary. I simply executed the plan. I met you at an educational conference in Hilton Head, South Carolina. You were always the perfect gentleman and obviously a great communicator because we communicated by letter writing, a lost art, as there were no cell phones, no internet, not even pagers. After 2 years of letter writing and occasionally speaking by phone, it was way too expensive for long conversations, you finally convinced me to move to Washington and work at Knapp College as your director of marketing. Shortly after relocating, you asked me to marry you, and I said yes. How could I have said no to a man who was willing to welcome me into his life, but also assume responsibility for 2 young boys and a mother-in-law who had Alzheimer's? Thus began our love story, which lasted for over 40 years. I recently discovered something that you had written about me. You said, "I love my wife. She makes every day feel just like a honeymoon." Was I a lucky gal or what? We became a blended family, and I received one of the greatest gifts of my life, a 12-year-old daughter. You were a wonderful father to Julie. She always said, "Dad is my rock," and now she has become mine. You showered love on the boys from the moment you met them. However, like your stepfather, you also offered some tough love as you instilled strong work ethics, honesty, and good moral character into their lives. I know they recall getting up every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. to do those assigned chores. They grumbled, but in the end, I think they appreciated the discipline. Boys, continue to make your dad proud. You have much to live up to. Then came the grandkids, and most recently the great-grandkids. You continued your wise counsel and had a tremendous impact on each of their lives. Time doesn't permit me to tell of all the occasions where you were there for them, but they know, and they love you so much. Yes, to you, Bob, family was everything, but your big heart also extended to your friends, and during your illness, they became your support team, offering encouragement, lots of laughs, and some really good jokes. I know that you loved me, but there was someone else who I thought held a more beloved place in your heart. That was our dog, Molly. At first you were adamantly, and I do mean adamantly, against getting a dog, but once you held her, she won your heart. You did everything together, even allowing her to sleep on our bed. A 90-pound yellow lab, me and you, we made quite a threesome. After we met, we began a life of adventure, first with our children and then as a couple. Prior to marriage, you traveled for business purposes, but once we connected, you said I opened up the world. We built beautiful memories and made many lasting friendships wherever those adventures took us. Once you became ill, you were unable to take long trips, but we spent many, many days making short visits to local scenic areas. Almost every morning you would ask me the same question, "Sweetie, where are we going today?" Well, my love, you no longer have to ask where you'll be going. You're dancing in the sky with the angels and probably asking God what you can do to help get things organized. I hope God has an abundant supply of sharpened pencils and yellow tablets so you can continue writing down your thoughts about your heavenly home. You can tell me all about it when we meet again. So we say farewell to a man who has had a life well lived. Husband, father, grandfather, great-grandfather, son, friend, philosopher, jock, wise counselor, entrepreneur, and an all-round great guy. You were one of the good ones, and you will forever be missed. With all my love to my rascal, your wife, Joyce.